Hello everybody and welcome to Season 5 of the Celtic FC25 career mode. I let you guys decide whether we did one more season or whether we ended it with losing the Champions League final, and when I say that out loud it makes it seem like the decision was very clear, and I'm very happy to see that you all wanted to see one more season of the Celtic career mode. To quote Cody Rhodes, I have to finish the story. And the story of Celtic will not finish until we win the Champions League title. Season 4 was WrestleMania 39. Season 5 is going to be WrestleMania 40, which, by the way, I was at. Humble brag. Look, the reason I wanted to ask all of you about the future of this series was because I can understand if people might be getting a bit tired of the series. Now, I wasn't getting tired of it, and it's not that I thought a lot of people were, but I understand when a series goes on for a few seasons, people kind of want to see something different, and I completely understand that. We do have the Manchester United career mode after this, and don't worry, I know United have been done by, I feel like, every YouTuber this year. I feel like United were like the most popular choice for people to start career mode with, but in my career mode, I'm going to interject a few storylines, or insert a few storylines, to make it a bit more different from what their ones were. But when it comes to the Celtic career mode, we couldn't leave it with losing the Champions League final. I just couldn't, in good spirit, leave it with that loss. That Atletico game, honestly, I'm still so gutted about it. I feel like I left every single Celtic supporter down, or even if you're not a Celtic fan and you're just invested in this series, it would have been the perfect way to end the series. A treble, unbeaten in the league, 4 leagues and cups in a row, and then to win that Champions League title. It would have just capped it all off. But unfortunately, that is not what happened. So, allow me to give you a preview of what to expect for Season 5. This is not going to be a very long season, and I am only going to show you the Champions League games. Another thing, timing-wise, I don't have a lot of time to record every single game. I actually just don't have that time. So this is just a preview episode. There will be no gameplay in this episode, but I want to show you the team, because let's just say we've had to make a few tough decisions and we've had to revamp the squad a little bit. But I also wanted to show you the Champions League group as well, and just to give you an idea of what to expect over the next few days on the channel with this series. So, in tomorrow's episode, we will get through the league phase completely. I'll show you the highlights of the games. Hopefully we can finish in that top 8, get past that ridiculous playoff round that we found ourselves in last year. I still can't believe that we managed to... Like, when you look at the run we had last year, we should have got nowhere near that Champions League final. We came 23rd in the league phase and conceded a F-ton of goals. I'm trying to censor myself more on these episodes. And somehow we got to the Champions League final. In the knockout rounds, we were fantastic. That Bilbao game, that was one of my favourite moments on the channel. It was the perfect year to win the Champions League. I'm still not over it. I just don't know what went wrong. But we should have got nowhere near that final when you really look deep into it. The league phase, we were extremely lucky. And I feel like we only qualified because other teams didn't get the results they needed. So when I looked at how we can do better and have a more straightforward kind of run in the league phase, I knew that there were going to have to be some big decisions in the squad. So we have let go of quite a few players, but we've brought in a few exciting players as well, and I'm looking forward to showing you that. But before we do that, let's have a look at the league phase. And something that's really sticking out to me is that not only are we not the only Scottish club in the Champions League league phase this season, we are not even the only team from Glasgow. Rangers are also in the Champions League league phase. That's the first time I think that's happened in this series. I feel like every other year they've been in the Europa League. But now they're here where the big boys play. They're in the Champions League and God love them. Look at who their first game is against. It's against Real Madrid. We all know how that went for us last season. And to give you a little bit of a spoiler, we're playing Real Madrid again this time round. So let me show you the fixtures if I just go over here into the calendar. So, Borussia Dortmund away is our first game in the league phase. Every fucking season I find that we play Borussia Dortmund. I get so passionate about it that I'm not even going to censor myself. But we will be playing them away from home. I think that was the first game of last season as well. I feel like we've played Dortmund a hell of a lot. We obviously had them in Season 1, we had them last season, and we have them again here in Season 5. We then play AEK Athens in our first game at Celtic Park, so hopefully that can be a bit more straightforward than I'm expecting this one to be. After that, we play Red Bull Salzburg, who we did beat in the Champions League knockout rounds last season, so I'll be confident going into that game. Fenerbahce away from home. Obviously their stadium has been introduced into the game this year, so it'll be my first time actually playing in it, so I'm very much looking forward to that. Frankfurt then at Celtic Park after that. Real Madrid, the most successful team in Champions League history, they will be taking a December trip to Glasgow. We'll be taking a December trip to Madrid. No, we won't. They'll be coming to Glasgow. Sorry, that was messing up my head there for a second. I had a complete brain fart there. They will be coming to Glasgow. Why is that so hard for me to figure out? It clearly says it's a home game. I'm sorry, lads. I'm recording this very early. I'm not long awake. But Real Madrid will be travelling to Glasgow. We got there in the end. But yeah, we all know how this game went last season. Still have a bit of PTSD over it. Pullison, I still don't know what happened with him. But let's just say it might not be him between the sticks for this game. There's a little teaser for you for some of the transfers that we've made. And then our last two group games, Midtjylland away, and then Club Brugge away as well. We had to get a Belgian team. It's just tradition on this channel. We can't play a European campaign without playing a Belgian team. Now, not only are Club Brugge interesting because of where they come from, and we all know that Club Brugge and every other Belgian team we play seems to turn into prime Barcelona when we come up against them, but we have actually sold a player to Club Brugge that, to be honest, lads, it was a very tough decision to make. And I'm not saying that the Champions League final was the reason we sold him. But after that final, I did have to look at that team and make a few tough decisions. So look, without further ado, I've teased it long enough. Allow me to show you the new looking Celtic for this final season here on the channel. This is the new looking Celtic going into Season 5. As you can tell, there's a few new faces in there, and there's also a few faces who are no longer there. Let's get into it. Between the sticks, it's no longer Pullison. We've gone for experience. We have gone with the man who has won the Champions League before, a man who's won the treble before, and that is Ederson of Manchester City. He got sick of not being able to win games anymore under Pep Guardiola, so he's come to a club who he knows can get the job done. Obviously, as you can see there, he's 35 years old. He's not exactly a young goalkeeper, and Pullison overall was fantastic. But I knew with goalkeepers, they can go on a bit longer, not just in the game, but in real life. Goalkeepers can play a lot longer than other players just because of the nature of the position. And they don't decline anywhere near as quickly. And Pullison was worth a lot of money. We'll get into how much we sold players for after I show you the full squad. I needed to invest a lot of money into the rest of the squad. And Pullison was one of the sacrificial lambs that we had to let go of in order to do that. Ederson, 88 rated, the same rating as Pullison. He cost, I think, around 10 million, so very, very little. As I say, he knows how to get it done in this competition. He's a very, very experienced goalkeeper, a serial winner as well. And honestly, I haven't actually ever used him in career mode, so I'm quite excited to see what he's all about. A league title winner, a Champions League winner, he's done it all, and let's hope he can do it now for Celtic as well. The back four, two of the players remain the same. Alistair Johnston and Phil Brooks, the two North Americans, continue to start in our defence. Phil Brooks still the captain. He's here for life. And then we have these two boys as well. Now, Inacio, I'm very, very excited about. 87 rated, 27 years old. Xavier Garcia, whilst he had one or two okay performances, his growth was very slow, and I just felt like he had more inconsistent performances than I would have liked. So we cashed in on him as well. Costa, as you can see there, is a backup centre-back. We've kept Scales in the team as well. He mightn't be the highest rated. He might be a little bit later into his career now, Scales. Well, I say later into his career. He's in his late 20s, early 30s at this stage of the series. But I actually like having him as a backup. He never really does much wrong when I have him in the team. So I was glad to keep him as the centre back and cash in on Garcia. But I'm very happy to bring in Inacio. Might be mispronouncing his name, by the way. But this guy here, Andy Robertson, he's already gone down since I've signed him. But again, I have never used this man in career mode. Formerly of Liverpool, real life, still playing for them. But I think he was at Leipzig in this career mode. And I really wanted to have at least one Scottish player in the team, right? I know we have McTominay on the bench. He will have to play the next Champions League game because Varela is suspended. But Robertson is somebody who, as I say, I've never used. And even though he's later on into his career, again, just like Ederson, he's been here before. He's won the Champions League. He's won league titles. He's a quality player. He plays for Liverpool, which is why I've never used him before, because I don't support Liverpool, and I've never done a Liverpool career mode and never will. So I thought this was a good opportunity to bring him in. Christensen, I'm happy to have him as a backup. We still have Valle there as well, so the left back position is absolutely stacked. He still cost a relatively pretty penny, 17 million for a 34-year-old, but I'm excited to see how he does in this team, Robertson. I mean, the full back position, despite the fact that Johnston and Christensen aren't the highest rated players in the team, I couldn't fault them too much last season. I was actually very happy with both of them. And Marquis and Valle as backups, I was very happy with. But I wanted to have a Scottish player in the starting 11, and Robertson was the only one who fit the bill. So yeah, that's why we've gone with him. Varela remains as the CDM, suspended for the next game, but whatever. That's only one game. He'll be back and better than ever, like he's Eric Bischoff. Kokchu still on the right side of the midfield. And we have brought back Timber. Lads, I was so gutted that we only had one season with him. What a season that was. We only sold him because we didn't achieve our Champions League objective, and I had to stay true to my word, and I said that the two highest rated players, not named Phil Brooks, would be sold in that season. So Timber was one of those players. We cashed in on him, but we have now brought him back to the club. He was anxious to get back here. He had unfinished business. He wanted to finish his story, and here he is at an 88 rating, the highest rated player, not named Phil Brooks, same rating as Ederson, and I'm very excited to have him back in the team. Francisco Conceição, he is still out on the right-hand side. He had a fairly average season, but I wasn't disappointed with him. I still think that he can come good, and towards the end of last season, he was actually scoring quite a few goals in the league. He just needs to be able to translate that over to the Champions League, so I'm happy to keep him out on the right. We have brought in Anthony Gordon out on the left. Frustratingly, he was injured when I signed him, and he's actually already gone down a rating because of that injury. But again, another player who I've never used in the career mode. Listen, he's from Tyneside, right? It's very, very close to the Scottish border, so I'm like, he's not moving too far away. He wants to get a taste of glory. He's seen what Celtic have done over the last few years, and he decided he wanted to be a part of that whilst not having to move too far away. And here we are, the most probably glaring new player in this team, Gyökeres of Sporting Lisbon. Lads, the headache trying to sign this guy was like nothing I've ever experienced. So in this career mode, he had moved to Arsenal, who ironically beat Sporting in real life yesterday in the Champions League. And before I was able to actually put in a bid for him, I had to sell quite a few players, and obviously I'll show you them now in a second. When I had raised enough money to sign Gyökeres, after we'd already brought in a few of the other players, he had already moved club. He had moved to Liverpool, which annoyed me enough as it is because it's Liverpool, and I was like, have I seriously sold all these players, including Evan Ferguson, for nothing? Because this was the man I wanted to bring in. He is the new Henrik Larsson, the new Swedish striker who we've given the number 7 shirt for Celtic. But there was a time, lads, where it didn't look like I was going to be able to sign him. But Liverpool were surprisingly happy to negotiate a deal. I can't remember exactly what the price was, but it was something I was happy to pay. And he is here now at Celtic. I was a bit 50-50 about signing him. I know he's a very popular player to use in career mode this year. I know he may not be the most unique player to sign, but still, look, we're at a stage where all we care about is winning the Champions League. It was a toss-up between Evan Ferguson and Adamida. I just felt like Adam Ida off the bench was too good for me to let go of. He's been here since day one. I wanted to keep a few players around who've been here from the beginning. And look, he's a Cork man, so I have that bias towards him anyway. So Ida was the one we decided to keep. And look, Ferguson was just worth a bit more money. I've decided to go with Gyökeres. That's how I pronounce it, but I'm told it could be Gyökeres or Gyökeres. I don't know actually what the correct pronunciation is. So if any of you want to let me know in the comments, please feel free to do so. But for the rest of this video, I'm probably going to call him Gyökeres, and probably for tomorrow's video as well, because I'm recording that today also. So yeah, sorry about that. But he is the man who's going to be leading the line, which I'm very, very excited about. Evan Ferguson did go to Club Brugge, which I was very surprised with. We didn't get a lot of offers for Evan Ferguson. I think the only other offer we got from a somewhat big team was Real Sociedad. But other than that, there was very, very little offers for him, which was a surprise. Had to quickly pause there because I could feel a fit of sneezes coming. My apologies. But yeah, Evan Ferguson just didn't get an awful lot of offers, which has made me confident that we've made the right decision, because there just wasn't that many offers, as I say. And as good as he had done, Evan Ferguson, and listen, it's not because he missed the penalty in the Champions League final. That could have happened to anybody. Ronaldo missed a penalty in the final in 2008, even though, you know, he didn't end up losing that final. But still, I just felt like we needed somebody with a bit of extra quality. And I think Gyökeres gives us that just bit of extra edge that we needed in order to compete with the big boys in the Champions League. So the bench is Ida, Maeda, Palma, Ward, McTominay, Christensen, Costa, Marquis and Burt. And then the reserves, we called back a good few players from loan just to have a bit of extra depth. Valet, as I say, is still there. Scales is still there. We brought in this O'Neill guy. He was a Scottish free agent. When I was searching for Scottish players, he popped up. And up until I remembered Andy Robertson, I thought this was the only Scottish guy we were going to bring in. I think he actually might be Ryan Christie's regen. I did look for Kyogo Furahashi's regen. Couldn't find him. Searched for Japanese strikers, but there was nobody that was glaringly obviously his striker. And if it was Furahashi's regen, he wasn't that high rated. So it's a shame, but look, it is what it is. So let's get into the amounts that we signed players for and the amounts that we sold players for as well, just to give you more of an idea of that. So as you can see there, Gyökeres, 85 million, which to be honest, considering he had already moved club in the summer, I was pretty happy with. Now he is 30 years old, which means that the price was always going to be a little bit lower than a player, say, in his mid-20s. But I still thought it was a reasonable offer from Liverpool to let go of a player they'd already signed for big money. Whether they made a profit on it or not, I'm not too sure. But anyways, that's how much it cost to bring in Gyökeres. Pulisic, as you can see there, not sure how Basque he is, but he decided to go to Bilbao. They left quite the impression on him after that game last season. But as you can see, they're just under £80 million. When I was trying to reinvest that money back into the team, it worked a hell of a lot. So I think it was worth selling Pulisic to Bilbao for that reason alone. He was fantastic for us. The regen of Kasper Schmeichel, which technically, if you think about it, makes him a third generation goalkeeper. So that's why I decided to cash in on him and replace him with somebody like Ederson. Timber, just under 70 million. Again, surprised he stayed at Benfica after leaving us. I thought maybe, no offence to Benfica, but a team from a bigger league might have come in. But 69 million was the amount we brought him in for. One of the nicer 69s I've ever had. Do you know when you instantly regret saying something? That's what's just happened to me right now. It sounded a lot funnier in my head. I apologise. And I'm not editing this out. It's staying in. Just so that I can be embarrassed about it. Anthony Gordon, 67.5 million. Very excited to use Anthony Gordon. He's one of my favourite players to watch in real life. I really, really do like him. But again, I've just never had an opportunity to use him in the game. And again, as I say, with Newcastle being within close proximity to Celtic, it just made a bit of sense. So I'm excited to have him in the team. Hopefully his injury won't be too long. I think we actually can pick him from the next game, but he'll still have that little band-aid over his name. So we might start him from the bench in that game against Dortmund and put Maeda in, which I'm very, very happy to do. Santos, who I wasn't very happy with towards the end of his time at Celtic, 65 million, as my voice cracks, to Aston Villa, or just under 65 million. I was I could not have accepted that quicker if I tried. I was very, very pleased to get that offer, but wish him nothing but the best. He was a decent player at times, but just towards the end, I didn't feel like it was working out. So instead of letting him rot on the bench in the reserves, we decided to cash in on him, and he's moved to a very big club as well. So fair play to him. Evan Ferguson, as you can see here, just under 60 million to go to Club Brugge. I mean, we have a rivalry with Belgian teams in this channel, or on this channel, I should say. Very, very rarely do we do transfer business with them, and little did I think we'd be selling a player of that quality to them. Has he gone up at all since he left? Oh, fucking course he has! Of course he has. I think he was 83 rated when we sold him, and he's already gone up to 85 rating. That's typical. But anyways, we will be coming up against him in the Champions League this season, so that'll be an interesting battle. But best of luck to Evan Ferguson as well, apart from, the game that we play against him. Gonzalo Inacio, we signed him from Villa for 50 million, 27 years old. I think that's a really good deal. This one absolutely pained me, lads. This one really, really pained me. I didn't want to sell him, Rio Hatate. I wanted to keep him. He was not happy at the club. He was refusing to sign a new deal. And even though I can't get sacked over keeping him, it just was getting on my nerves, to be honest, the amount of emails and messages I was getting for him. So I said that if we got a decent enough offer for him, he is 30 years old, 81 rated. Luton Town came in with 21.4 million. I was happy enough to accept it if I had to sell him, but I was pretty gutted about it as well. So he has moved to Luton Town. Very, very disappointed with that. He was a really good player to have in the squad, but look, it is what it is. Andy Robertson at Leipzig, 17 million. It was the price I was willing to pay to get a Scottish player in the team, so let's hope it's worth it, and that he doesn't decline too quickly as the season goes on. 11 million for Ederson, so yeah, just over the 10 million mark. For an experienced goalkeeper who I know won't decline too much, and as I say, being able to reinvest that money into the squad from Pullison, I think that deal at the moment is looking good, but we'll see how he performs on the pitch. That'll be the real decider of whether this was a good deal or not. And then we had these young players then, Lund and Findlay, moving on as well, and McNeil came in on a free. So lads, that is the end of this preview episode of Season 5. I hope you're looking forward to the upcoming season. In tomorrow's episode, we will fly through the league phase. I will show you the highlights of every single game. We might play some of the games in full, just depends on time really, and depends on how we're doing in the league phase. And then, obviously, we will get into the knockout rounds after that, all going well. So lads, if you are looking forward to that episode, please smash that like button on this video. Consider subscribing to the channel. I wanted to take this opportunity as well to thank each and every one of you who's hit that subscribe button already for helping me get to 400 subscribers. 400 subscribers to some people mightn't sound like an awful lot. To me, that's absolutely mind-blowing. I always say that we had less than 300 when we started this series, and here we are now already on the road to 500. That means the absolute world to me, so thank each and every one of you for that. It means the world to me, and I'm glad to see that you've all enjoyed this series. And trust me when I say there's lots more to look forward to as well. Not just in FC25, but other stuff as well. I'm really excited to get into that stuff, so please do hit that subscribe button if you'd like to be a part of it. Obviously, this is being uploaded a little bit earlier because Celtic do have a big Champions League game tonight against Club Brugge. The Belgian rivalry carries over into real life, so come on Celtic, get those 3 points, and I will see you tomorrow where we hope to go through the league phase in Season 5 and get into the knockout rounds as we look to seal the second European Cup in Celtic's history and to finish the story properly. See you tomorrow.